Hey everyone, this is Gamer Grandpa coming at you with another interview. With today we have Titan and we have Hazeyy. Now these guys manage the migration of all the members coming into 36C server 261, and I brought these guys on today. I asked them to talk about what their experience was with this. These guys have been on the server since I think day one, and just wanted to kind of bring them on and see what their thoughts were, and see if we can't help some of you guys out there see what's going on. So Titan, Hazeyy, I appreciate you guys doing this with me.
My pleasure. I'm glad to be
Yeah,
here.
thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the first things that I think people want to know is, when did you guys start actually looking at the migrations and actually bringing?
Well, we started having some inquiries at the end of season 1 where we knew nothing about it, and I had just found out that there is actually something called migrations. But we started getting fairly popular at the end of season 1, and that's when it started for us, actually.
Okay. And how about you, Hazeyy? You kind of
Yeah, no, I think it was pretty similar. I think a lot of I think we got a lot of interest because a lot of people saw how much fun and stuff we had, and just camaraderie and stuff when we in our state versus state and Buster days, and people are just like, "Wow, it's a pretty cool group." So we had a lot of people wanting to join the crowd.
Absolutely. And so looking at the beginning, what tools did you guys use? Like, was this spreadsheets? Was this any particular tool that you guys used to do this with?
Well, early in season 1, we didn't really use much because it was still too far forward. So we just kind of kept track. We worked more on building relationships and trying to see how the personalities fit, and if it would even be a good fit for not only our team but the server. So in the beginning, we didn't really use spreadsheets or anything of that sort. It was just more of a human relations part of it. I think, Hazeyy, you probably would know better because you're helping us keep track. I don't know when we started putting things on paper, but I would assume maybe mid season 2 or a little bit before that, right?
I would say we had a very rough one at the beginning of season 2, but like you were saying, it was more at the beginning. It was more just like, oh, it'd be so cool to join. Like, it was more just kind of like, it wasn't like a on paper kind of thing. It was more just like word to mouth. And then once season 2 started, and we're like migrations, and at the end of season 2, that's when we're more like, all right, we're
Well,
gonna start kind of moving the ball a little bit.
because we started getting overwhelmed, we started getting too many inquiries, and we're like, okay, we're forgetting who's new, and it got pretty intense pretty fast for us. We got lucky, we had the whole social aspect of it on our server, but we didn't really have the power in the beginning. So we actually started building relationships off of the social aspect, but then the server started growing and becoming healthier strength-wise, and all of a sudden we started getting overwhelmed with inquiries, and that's when we asked Hazeyy to kind of start keeping track of things and putting things on paper and names on paper. And I think mid season 2 is when we're like, okay, we got too many names, we need to figure out who is rated what. And
Yeah.
I know before that, the game has changed its rating too. I know in the early servers they had different scores on mediums, regulars, elites, and advanced, and I don't recall when it changed, but fairly recently it changed on the cutoffs for scores. So I think mid season 2 is when we started getting on YouTube and getting online to try to figure out what the ratings are and what the limits are, and who we could actually start categorizing based on their power.
Yeah. Well, and I was on the server since really early, right? I mean, when
Yeah.
I installed the game, it put me on 261. I didn't know, I didn't have a clue, I just knew the first time I got farmed, I didn't want to get farmed again. So I started growing. And I went through, 2-3 different alliances, and but I kept seeing that the server was was in chaos, like I'm sure a lot of servers are out there. There was a lot of bickering, a lot of fighting, and I knew 36C kind of managed a lot of that and wound up bringing us all unified. Now, not only did you have to unify the server, but you also had to manage these relationships and really not being part of 36C at that time, I saw where we were communicating with other servers, with other people, and truthfully, I started making friends, even though I was battling them, right? You'd get random pings like, hey man, nice HQ, nice tank, or I'd say, great job, next time, please don't whoop me so bad, kind of thing. And has that kind of how you guys started seeing people and seeing their power and thinking about bringing them in?
Yeah, actually, that's exactly how we started going. Just we weren't, it's a game at the end of the day. Yeah, we're in different servers and we compete against each other, but we don't have to be enemies and make things ugly, So that's how the relationship started building. From the SVS and also from the champion duels, competing against other stronger players, barely losing, barely winning, things like that kind of build those relationships up. And just kind of seeing how, when you have the SVS, you have access to their world chat, just like they have to us. So I think just seeing how we were handling ourselves in our server and how we were having fun, and it wasn't as much ugliness at this point, and it was more of a united server. I think that's kind of what got people to be more drawn to us and inquire to come in.
So how did you manage? How did you manage multiple groups wanting to come in? Because I know, I would not have wanted to leave my server to come to a server that I only fought against in ABA or SVS. I'd want to bring 3 or 4 people, but we all know that it takes 106 people. That you've only got 106 people able to come in. 1 elite, 5 advanced?
Yeah, 40 medium,
and then 60 regular. So how did you mitigate? Because obviously, with only being 1 elite, if that 1 elite wanted to come in, and he was your top choice, but he wanted to bring in 3 or 4 his friends, but yet you had another group that were all advanced, right? And they were 5. How did you figure out and mitigate those relationships?
This was actually the biggest challenge we had when it came to organizing our list, because you had a lot of servers that wanted to have a full alliance migrate out, and it just wasn't realistic. So to us, the 2 biggest mistakes, and I'm sure Hazeyy will chime in on this, not mistakes, but the 2 biggest challenges we had were, first, bringing in people that we wanted and still accommodating their groups and friends, and second, making sure that they understood that it wasn't necessarily a lock into 36C, right? So before we even started with talks with migration, we got with Biddy, who was our R5, and we kind of went through our list. And believe it or not, we had most of season 2, we were playing with 70, 75 players. We're short quite a bit because we didn't want to recruit people, and because we knew that migration was coming, just to have them kicked out later, So one of our biggest important things was, when it came to 36C, is not to replace our loyal members, not to replace our friends just because we had better accounts or bigger accounts coming in. Yeah. So I think, if I were to give advice on how to organize it, is to kind of understand who your core is and who are the irreplaceable players, and see how much room you would have outside of that, and then start to plug the correct members into the alliance of that sort. Okay. So
yeah, for sure. I agree. Pretty much everything you said, really. As soon as you said it was like the hardest part, I was like, that's exactly what I was going to say. That was by far, I feel like, probably the hardest part. Was this one wanted to bring 6 others with them, and they can't grow, and if they go up, they're gonna go to a whole new. It's just like, it's like, yeah, like you said, Gamer Grandpa, like you were saying, it was like, you don't really want to migrate. Most people don't really want to migrate alone. Usually have at least a couple people here, and that's like that part is super. It's like chess pieces. Like this one could fit here, and then it's like, but what are their personalities like? It's a lot of chess, moving different things and where they're gonna fit. I would definitely say that's probably the hardest as far as moving to different groups. That was definitely hard.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, these are not just HQs you're bringing in; they're human beings, they're personalities, and they all have
Absolutely.
feelings, right? So we had to make sure that we kept everybody happy with their groups, and we weren't just kind of plugging in power-wise and number-wise, and it was more of a personality fit and a package fit. It's obviously very hard with how limited it is, and you are going to kind of work your way from power down because you have more limited space. So ideally, even though there aren't too many elites out there, ideally you want to start with the elite and then work with the advanced, which are the two hardest parts. We had the most inquiries in the advanced category for us, and picking 5 was very difficult, but we had a very good relationship with one of the servers alliances, and we kind of kept most of our advanced from that group and worked our way down into the regulars.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing something about how maybe even one person couldn't even play for several weeks because it already logged on. They got power,
But
right? So I'm like, how did
Yeah,
that work out? No, I'm sorry, you can't
know-
play. If you want to come,
Poor guy had to delete the app for a month.
Well,
We wouldn't
you know what
be
happened?
tempted.
Once we got overwhelmed with the amount of inquiries we had, we had to start digging into seeing who's actually rated what. And since the game doesn't provide that data, we went online, we went on YouTube. What I actually did is I contacted a lot of the presidents that were just prior to our server numbers, that were just going through migrations, and they had the updated cutoff limits for the migrations. And what I did is I asked them for their migration scores and their actual HQ screenshots to kind of cross-reference what we did. And we were able to use the LastZ tools product there, and we got online and we saw some of the videos online too with their migration scores and their HQ sizes, and we're able to kind of get pretty accurate on our numbers, and that helped us a lot on figuring out who is who. So like you were saying, there were a few guys that were just at the cut between, say, medium and advanced, and they were so willing to come here that they literally just wouldn't do anything on their account. They didn't even claim their existing progress in their in their games, and they just kind of sat on it, and all they did is just buy the packages and buy the dailies without growing their numbers. So it worked out for us, and we were able to get some really good players that way. So yeah, there is some sacrifice going on to things like that, and you have to be aware and think of the future, basically.
I really would just say one of the big things too is I would recommend for other servers really is to try to get talking about it sooner rather than later, because towards the end when we were like a couple days out from it finalizing, it's like it definitely was nice to have like majority of our stuff all finalized and situated and not having to obviously it was still stressful, but like if I know there were servers out there that are just now picking up a spreadsheet to add people to, it's like I couldn't even imagine. Our heads would have exploded if we didn't do anything until like a couple days before or a week before. We would have absolutely went crazy.
Yeah, and they had a lot of issues because they did it last minute too. It's always best to kind of get a head start. But touching on that too, I think we talked about this on the other video, Grandpa, is the game kind of starts you off with a pool of 8 servers, and you tend to build the relationship within those 8 servers mostly. But what happened at the mid-season 2 or at the end of season 2 is they introduced the second 8, right, to make our pool 16. And for us, it was a little bit harder because we had already kind of put our list together for the migrants. And then all of a sudden you had this whole 8 new servers that you could pick from, right? So if you want to kind of do this right, understand which pools you will likely be grouped with, and maybe start to reach out, even though you might not see them in your competition part of the game, like the SVSs and AVAs and whatnot. But it's not too hard to figure out who the 16 with your pool will be in season 2 to kind of start building relationships and have a larger group to pick from.
Well, and so really a couple of things that I've gotten so far is one, this is not a one-man operation, right? Especially if you're really serious about bringing high quality people in, because you've got yourself, Mrs. Titan, Biddy, creating relationships. Hazey as well, but I would say the majority of the relationships was you, Mrs. Titan, and Biddy, and then I think I had like one guy that reached out to me.
Yeah,
So
and
obviously I
he's
didn't
here
know about
with
the
us.
relationships, but Hazey being the man behind the scenes, right? So he's managing the list, he's working with you. Obviously, I saw the votes coming in within the R4, R4 and R5 chat. And by the way, thank you, because I got to escape that whole nightmare. I saw it, but I got
Yeah.
that's when I was building the season 3 guide, and but I saw the votes coming in. I saw the names coming in, and so really what I get is one, it really takes a team, just like a business, just like you're a manager with employees or whatever it may be. C-levels, I guess, at this case. And then the second thing is you're not bickering and fighting and arguing with a bunch of servers. You're building relationships with these people. So yes, we fight. When it's time to fight, we fight. My philosophy is, if you're not bubbled, you're willing to give up your resources, and you're willing to kill troops, and I'm willing to kill them for you. So
Yeah,
uh,
exactly.
but at the end of the day, be fair, play fair, and build these relationships. And I see that not happening a lot, actually, with other servers, where they're just bickering back and forth. And I don't think you can bring people up
Silly.
there if that's the case.
It's very silly. Just because you compete with each other doesn't mean you have to be enemies. You could fight and have a healthy competition without turning it ugly and making it personal. But kind of touching back on what you're saying, it's impossible to do with a team of 1 or even 2, to be honest. Especially if you're a popular server and you have a lot of people coming in. Miss Titan obviously helped a lot. She's the social part of our group, and we have each of our R4s and R5s, and even our regular R3 members with specific jobs and roles that they're responsible for, and we trust in each other to kind of get it done. So that's the only way that this was able to work, is to have trust. And sorry, I got a phone call. I don't know if I cut off.
Yeah, no.
But
you're fine.
yeah, to have trust and a good leadership team, and have different responsibilities given to different members based on their capabilities.
Well, and I remember even like the last day you were bringing people in, you had people bailing or changing their mind. And so really, this isn't just you set the list, it's done, right?
Absolutely.
Even sitting in the 11th hour, you were like, all right, so this person decided not to come, so let's bring this person. So does that mean you had list A, list B, list C kind of thing?
We did have some backup, yes. I mean, we didn't have too many cancellations and change of mind. We had more of the people that we told, you're too close to the certain limit and you shouldn't be growing, and they got a little impatient and just had a couple of clicks that put them over, so we had a few of those members that just cut the limit, and we had no choice but to move on from. So yeah, we did have a few people, and we're very upfront with our migrants. We didn't want to be unfair and tell everybody yes and then pick from what we wanted. We're fair by telling them, you are close to being on the waiting list, or you're top of the waiting list. You should look for another option if this doesn't work out, but just know that you are first priority coming in if there's an opening, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that you're being fair and giving them a chance where they're not, left homeless at the last hour.
Well, and I remember you actually posting there that this person was going to go to Yummy, or this person was going to go to Vor, or this group was going to go to Vor because they were struggling with power. And so this wasn't just based on personalities, it was also based on which particular alliance needed what power, it seemed like.
Oh yeah, not only power based, but we made sure that the time zones work. We made sure that the different capabilities of some members work, because we had a lot of R5s and R4s coming in through migration too. And some of our alliances that were lacking leadership, we send leadership to, and some of the alliances that had good leadership but were lacking in power, we send power to.
Yeah.
And not only that, because we had such a good relationship with so many of the migrants and different servers, I actually helped a lot of the ones that we couldn't bring in find homes in other healthy servers that I thought would be a good fit for them. So
Yeah.
it's not, it's not about just being selfish and looking at your own server. If you've already put in the work and you know the different presidents and servers, and you know the members, it's not that hard to kind of help find them good homes too,
Yeah.
if you can bring them into your own server.
So looking back on this, obviously this was our first migration, right? If you had known what you know now back then, what are a few
Mhm.
things you would have done differently besides quit?
Well, I would have.
You'd have been like, nope, Cymix or gamer grandpa, you got this. And I'd have been like, no, I quit too.
Well, Hazeyy will tell you, we already have a long list of people wanting to migrate here after season 3, and we up until just yesterday we had people requesting early spots, and I don't even want to open those messages, and no offense to those people sending me those messages, but we need a little break.
Yeah.
But sorry, ask the question again.
No, I was just saying that what I can really see is that LastZ needs an auto forward option, that anything you get with the word migration needs to be forwarded to Biddy or Juice or some of them.
Yeah, that would help.
Just,
Actually, okay, so kind of touching back on what you're saying, obviously having that LastZ tool would have helped a lot. The game, I wish, gave you a little bit more information on your rating, but now that we have this option that gets you a very close idea of what your rating will be, having that early on will help you a lot. And also, like I mentioned before, knowing the pool that is going to be in your overall options for migration, and building those relationships early on, so you're not limited to just the 8 servers in the pool.
Yeah.
So those 2 things would have helped if we knew earlier. Now, kind of touching forward, I know there is a chance, I haven't looked into it, but the pool might expand to 32, I think, after season 3 or season 4. So I kind of have to look into that and take my own advice and kind of see who else would be packaged with us
Okay.
when the time comes.
Yeah, I know on server 15, we're in the middle of SBS with server 35. So I don't, of course, I'm out of that whole loop. So I'm wondering if they haven't already merged, but 35 would be outside 32. So I'm not quite for sure where their server pool is.
Yeah, those early on servers are a little bit too far from us. So I would have to check in the, early 200s and late 100s maybe, to see how they get grouped together.
Yeah.
But the information is on there, you unless you're one of the earlier servers like your server 15, where you guys are the test dummies. We're a little bit lucky where we're a little bit further ahead, so we could kind of just get on YouTube and get on the web and kind of see how other people are grouped and base it on that. It's not that hard. It just needs a little effort to do your research.
Well, and outside looking in, it also seems like, even though we won SVS as far as the season goes, we had a major opponent, a great component, SUF1. Shout out to those guys, because they fought. I mean, they fought hard, which was great because.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah,
They got some beasts.
Yeah, they really did. And that was a great last Glory War. But with that being said, to me, when you're looking at this, and I'm sure they did as well, because they want to get dominant players in, that we're migrating not just people, but we're migrating for future wars. Right, and so we're staying in touch with server 271, server 272. I mean, I don't know the other ones, but
Well, those are the two Krakens that we're worried about. They have
Yeah.
Hochi and Ducky, who are, around 700 million power now, and so we definitely need to deal with those two big boys. But yeah, it's a shout out to 258 and SUF1. They really whooped us early on in season 1, and I think that was the birth of our server. To be honest, we needed that really bad beating to kind of wake up and grow to where we are today.
Yeah. And so I guess my point of all that was to say that the migration isn't just about bringing people in. It's about knowing where your combat strategies are and where you want to be as far as the server goes. Because I see, like I stay on the LastZ Discord channel, and I see servers putting out ads for people to come in, and I would hate to think that we would have had to have resorted to that to bring people in, not knowing not knowing personalities, not knowing how well they played with people, all of that.
We have directly spoken to every member that came in. We wanted to make sure that we're not bringing drama in. We had to make sure that the personality fit was there, and of course the power. At the end of the day, as much as we enjoy the social aspect of this, it's still a war game, and we still have to gear up to win events, right? So that balancing act of having power and personality was the most important part in choosing the migrants.
How did you go about telling people that they weren't picked, right? So obviously that's a hard conversation. Some were probably easy because they had never spoken to you, or they just randomly pinged you. Like I got several pings like a day prior to migration, wondering if I'd be willing to come over, right? So
that part wasn't too much of a hassle, to be honest, because they were mostly understanding. With the limitation that we have, and especially the grouping of limitation we have with advanced elite and whatnot, they were very understanding that the spots were filled and they were spoken for. So they respected the fact that we had to, we had already made the decisions, and those people that we committed to were looking forward to coming in. So to us personally, that wasn't much of an issue.
Yeah. Okay. And then I guess my final thoughts would be, if I was a server president and I was in the top alliance, or I was trying to figure out how to do this, where would I start, right? What advice would you give me to start with, even though they ought to be able to pick up some of this during, but kind of how would you summarize if you'd have known then what you know now, kind of thing? Both
very easy. Find yourself a Miss Titan and find yourself a Hazeyy. You'll be set.
Okay.
Right. No, I'm just kidding.
Build a team is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Depends on the server. Depends on the server. If they're successful and healthy, it'll just come to you. It'll be your job to pick and choose who you want. But on some servers that are not as strong, I'm not sure, because we haven't been in that position. But building those relationships, being good to people, being nice to people, regardless on which server they play in or which alliance they play in. Just having those kind of relationships, the social aspect of it early on, will open a lot of doors for you.
Okay.
Hey, what do you think?
what I was gonna say on that is, I think one of the main takeaways out of this whole thing, and this suggestion, really would just be, I think, kind of pretty early on. I think Titan, you would agree. We had a conversation that we all just wanted to take this, like, be competitive. We're all super competitive. We don't do things like half-assed. We want to be the best. That's what we want to do. And I just feel like if that's something that you're wanting to do and you want your state to do, I just feel like early on it's just so important to build relationships and connections. Like, I just feel like it's just so important for migration, just kind of the whole game. Just if you want to be as competitive as possible, I just feel like from the beginning you really got to build relationships, not just like,
well, yeah, you have to have an identity. You have to see if you want to be competitive enough and bring in those strong players, and you have to be competitive enough for those strong players to even want to come to you, right? So you either build a social team, a social server where you're just having fun, win or lose, it's all good, or you're going to have a competitive server. Now, it doesn't mean, you know, when this whole thing first started, when this game first started, there was a lot of fear, even from the R5 biddy, was if we get too strong or too competitive, the fun part of it will go away, right? And it's not true. You could have strong and competitive players that are still very social and very fun, and you know, our chats go wild and it's nonstop.
Absolutely.
And we've built a bond enough where we could just be ourselves in there. So it doesn't necessarily have to be one or the other. It is very hard to have both, but you still have to have some kind of direction on what the server is going to look like before you make those decisions.
Okay. Well,
Absolutely.
Well, and I have to say, one, if you've got players who have to save, who can't grow, be prepared that they're real excited, like hour one, right? So we had, I think our world chat and I think our alliance chat went nuts for what, like 3 days or something, where, I mean, you had all of this personality hit us at once. And
Yeah, it was
different people,
overwhelming.
you know, different personas, and then what? I mean, these advanced elite guys were putting up 100 million plus points because they'd been saving for so long, sitting on what, like 50,000 cores or something crazy. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, so yeah, sitting on 1 billion points waiting to spend, kind of thing.
Yeah, but you know, it's not. People will think that just the newcomers coming in might be a little hard for them to adjust. We found out that even for us, the home that they were coming into, it took us a while to adjust to. As good of a friends as they were, and as good of a relationship as we had, when everybody came in together, it was kind of overwhelming, even for the home server and the home alliance.
Sure.
And there are obviously growing pains in that process too. We haven't had any drama, but just in general, even just the excitement part could be overwhelming because there's just so many new personalities. And you have to understand, most of the migrants coming in are a little bit more than the casual players, obviously, because there's such limited space. So these guys are basically cream of the crop, and they're all excited. And it took us a few days to kind of settle in, and everything's been going great since. We got very lucky with the members we brought in. We're actually very thankful for the people that chose us and came in.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it was funny. It was like alliance chat was, you know, our own little family. We had become acclimated to how we talk, what we post, and all of a sudden you bring in these ADH children, right? And they're hyperactive, they're ready to spend, and it just, I mean, wow, it was really great.
Just red
I don't even
packet
wanna-
after red packet. after
Yeah,
red
I was
packet.
about to say, I don't even want to know. We could even click on the red packets fast enough, man. You guys are so excited to be here. Our whole chat, the devs made a lot of money with our server, and I'm sure someone will chime in and tell you it was just unbelievable, the amount of packets that went around in our chats. So yeah, it was definitely an excitement moment, and it hasn't stopped. You know, the excitement hasn't stopped. We have season 3 coming up in a day or two, and you know, we're definitely looking forward to the competition. We have, like I said, some Krakens in the younger server that have grown quite a bit after meeting us too, because they had a little bit more comfortable bracket before us.
Sure.
And you know, SCF1 kind of forced us to grow. So now we have a very big group and a lot of big boys in there. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay.
We're looking forward to it.
So I guess as my final thought would be, anyone watching this, anyone looking to migrate, that this is not a post an ad and bring in people environment, right? What I'm gathering from this is you have to build relationships, you have to communicate, you have to present yourself as a server that people want to come into, especially when you're looking at advanced elites, and because being an elite myself, I want to play with friends, but I want to play with strong friends, and I want to play with people who are also like-minded. So knowing the people you're bringing in, communicating, talking with other people, and not just being blatantly outrageous, I think you really helped us be successful in this. So guys, thank you. I mean, So me as gamer grandpa, I really appreciate what you guys did. I more appreciate the fact that I didn't have to be that involved in it. But just because I saw the craziness, but I obviously would have been if you.
Yeah, man, it's okay. For season 3, we'll put you as president and you could take care of it.
Dang it, I escaped the first one. Well, at least he has some knowledge on it. So
Yeah, no, I'm kidding. We'll get it.
Titan,
It was a pleasure.
Hazeyy, thanks guys. I really appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, no problem, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, guys.
Thank you, my friend. And if you are closer to our server at 261 and you need a few general questions or need help, you can reach out to us too.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Feel free.
My in-game is TITAN707 from 36C and 261. So you could shoot me a PM if you have some questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, if you want to leave comments after I post this, everyone's watching it. So I'm sure Titan, Hazeyy, and all those guys would be happy to comment. All right, guys. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Have a great day.
You too.